Hey, you're back, and it's obviously because you watched my last video, of course, right? So, let's have another one. Oakley dokley, so you've decided you want to be a spider keeper. Maybe it's because you're fascinated by them and want to learn more and educate yourself. Perhaps you're doing it to overcome a fear of spiders, because some people do believe that confronting fear is the best way to deal with it. There are many, many reasons people get into pet keeping in general. A lot of it is to do with sort of self-care as well. It provides the mind stimulation, something to think about. But anyway, so you have decided you want to get into spider keeping. This is going to be the hobby for me. Where do I begin? How does one get into keeping tarantulas and spiders? The first rule of thumb is research. Obviously, you want to do a lot of research. This could be achieved through Facebook, dedicated groups, Google searches, and of course through YouTube. There are many, many, many absolutely brilliant channels that will provide you a wealth of information from particular types to housing to care to, loads of things get covered here on YouTube, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's one of my main sources of research, besides obviously internet and through speaking to fellow keepers, because as you get into the hobby you will meet other weirdos like us, and yeah, but as well as there are many brilliant channels, beware the bad ones. There are some channels that they do it for views. They do it. They portray things incorrectly, in a bad light, in a negative way, and I don't like it. And I don't want to spend too long speaking about it, but I just don't approve of some of the things that go on for the sake of getting views and such like. But you'll discover that on your own as you go along your journey. One thing I will often say to people is, what are you hoping to get out of your pet tarantula? Are you wanting something large? Are you wanting something colourful? Are you wanting something that's going to web up a lot? Are you wanting something that is on more visually on display and not as likely to hide away? Are you wanting something that's going to be in a big tank and a boreal setup? There are many different factors to take into consideration when you're getting your tarantula. There are certain types that are considered more beginner friendly, but we can look at that at a later date. So let's jump forward a little bit. You've done your research. You've gone, that is the one for me. I really want that one. But beware, it never stops at one, because once you've got one, I'm going to go on a wee tyrant here. So what will happen, depending on what size you decide to start at, you'll get slings, which are baby spiders, spiderling, sling. You will get juveniles, you'll get sub-adults and adults. Traditionally, they're the ones. And by size, it's normally diagonal length, leg span. So, yeah, we'll cover all that at a later date. So you've decided the one you want. You'll probably get in a little sling pot if you start with a sling, but at some point it will have to move up, maybe into something about kind of like one of these jar kind of sizes, and then bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Problem with that is, of course, you're then left with lots of empties, and everybody knows if you've got an empty, you want something to go in it, so that's how you end up with loads and loads of spiders and tarantulas or scorpions or whatever you're keeping. And now we get into the bare bones of what this video is about. You've done your research, you've settled on what kind of spider you want. We'll go into great places to purchase your spiders from, but for now, let's just one step at a time. One step at a time. You've decided what you want. Now you're confronted with what you're going to keep it in. Let's assume you're getting a sub-adult to adult size spider for your first one, and you're thinking, what am I going to keep this in? And there opens up a whole new floodgate of possibilities. You may decide you want to go for glass. I personally am quite a fan of glass, especially the good old Exoterra enclosures. A number of reasons I particularly like them, but again, that's not really relevant right now. So you may decide you want to go for glass type. You may want to go for these plasticky types of enclosures. Or you might want to go with an acrylic type of enclosure. Again, benefits and negatives to all of these different types of enclosures you can use, such as temperament scratches, the weight, how much space they're going to take up, how you clean them. There are a lot of advantages and disadvantages to each different one, but at the end of the day, what it really comes down to is almost a matter of preference and availability, as in what space or range you have available to you will determine perhaps what kind of enclosure you wish to go for. So let's say, for example, these are 30 by 30 by 30, as in they are 30 height, width and depth, 30 centimetre cubed Exoterra. Front opening. They have a gap here for secure locking should you wish to put a padlock on it, and they have a mesh lid. Some keepers will remove that mesh and put an acrylic lid on because spiders and their hooks can get caught on that lid and it can lead to problems. Personally, thus far in all the years I've been keeping, I have never had a single issue with the mesh lids, but it can happen, so be aware of that. It might be something you want to consider swapping out, and there are people that do custom fitted lids for that. So you've decided you want an Exoterra glass enclosure. Again, there are multiple places you can buy this, but this is not about that right now. So you've settled on your enclosure. Now comes quite an important part of the overall accomplishment, if you will. The aim of the game, the goal. Decoration. So an important part here is you can be elaborate, wild, wacky, insane as you wish to be, as long as you cover the basics. So if it's a fossorial and it's going to need to burrow down, you need to make sure it's got plenty of substrate. If it's a boreal, you need to make sure it's got plenty of height and space to climb up. If it's terrestrial, again, you need to make sure it's got plenty of hiding spaces and all that kind of stuff. So that's something you want to take into consideration. You need to make sure there's a water bowl. None of this hydro ball bullshit nonsense. Didn't even bother with that. Just put water in the bowl, all right? Water in the bowl. Humidity can be maintained because some spiders need a more humid environment than others, which you will have learned during your research of said species. And heights, somewhere for the spider to retreat to feel safe. You must ensure that your spider has the correct heat, the correct humidity, access to water, and a suitable environment to meet its needs, regardless of how wacky, zany, or out there you wish to be with your design. You need to make sure that it is going to be practical for the type of spider that is going into it. So that's the main priority there. So some of my designs are based more kind of wacky out there, based on comics or movies or something. Obviously, if you watch Tarantula-tastic Steve, I mentioned in the last one, his are very much horror themed inspired, and various movies of our generation. Things that meant a lot to him. But anyway, I digress. Mine are based on whatever old tat I had lying around from my collection, and some are more based on a kind of natural looking environment. So I'm going to show you some of them just now, just so you have a kind of idea as to what I'm prattling on about. So yeah, let's do that. So there is, of course, the kind of semi-famous jar wall, but that's irrelevant just now. So you see, there's a kind of couple of different themes covered there. So they're the theme, but some of mine are also more based on a naturalistic, environmental kind of look. So let's go have a wee look at some of them. That is just a few of the various setups, and as you can see, some are themed on things, pop culture, and others are themed more on what I would expect to see out in the natural world. So you could kind of just use your imagination, as I say, as long as you have met the needs of the spiders within each enclosure, then you know, be as wacky, zany, or simplistic as you wish to be. Starting out, you probably will be the case of coir, coconut hide, and perhaps a bit of plastic plant or something. So when it comes to decorations, a lot of my stuff is foraged from nature, obviously within the naturalistic enclosures. To do this, I go to an area that is free of traffic, i.e. woods, forestry type of environment, and I will look for things that I think capture what I'm looking for. I've gone down many times with a particular image in my mind of what I would like to find and come back empty-handed because I've just not been able to find the piece that I envisioned for my enclosure. Other times I will come back with carrier bags full of branches, twigs, bits of logs, moss, all kinds of stuff. If you're going to go down this route, you need to be 100% sure that you're not in an area that is going to be sprayed with pesticides or chemicals or chemtrails or be contaminated in any way. This has to be like, you need to know that where you are going is absolutely off the grid, so to speak. Otherwise, if you aren't feeling confident in doing that kind of thing, you could go down to your local reptile shop and you can buy hides, you could buy cork bark, you could buy water bowls, you could buy everything you need from a shop or an online retailer. Everything is accessible. But again, it depends what you want to go for and what your desired finished look is going to be. Alrighty then, I think we've pretty much come to the end of this. I think I've covered everything I was hoping to cover in this video. So you've done your research, you've chosen what kind of spider tarantula it is you're wanting to keep, and you've researched into what kind of enclosure is going to work best for you, for your environment, and your budget as well also, because budget has a big part to play for it. So yeah, I think I've covered most of what I aimed to within this video. So if you found it at all helpful, give us a follow, pop us a comment, let us know what you think. If you've got any questions, more importantly, pop your questions down into the comments bit so I can try and get back to you and answer any that you have. And other than that, I think that's pretty much it. Sorry there's not been a lot of actual spiders in this video. But what I'm trying to do is just over the course of getting back into YouTube is kind of try and take it back to a very basic beginner level. So, i.e., is this a hobby for you? Now you've decided this is a hobby for you, let's think about the practicalities of doing it. What am I going to need? What do I need to do? Where do I turn to? All those kinds of things. So in the next video, hopefully we'll look at more kind of like the kind of support you're going to need, or find helpful, reliable suppliers, pros and cons of local shops, etc, etc, etc. But that's something we'll cover in a later day. But anyway, for me, for now, that is it. I don't think there's anything else I can say. So yeah, put your comments down below. Like, comment, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Right, anyway, that is it for me to you guys. Be good, be kind, take care of yourselves, and we will see you in the next one. Thank you ever so much for watching, and bye-bye for now. Bye-bye. A few things I forgot to add in, so I'm just going to add them in now, and hopefully I can edit them in so they look like it's all been one continuous rolling take, despite the fact that quite clearly it's from a different camera angle and such like. Anyway, so when you're watching YouTube videos, for example, or TikTokies or whatever, watch from different sources. If they're all singing from the same hymn sheet, chances are they're giving you pretty reliable information. If somebody is just havering an absolute pile of nonsense, is contradictory to what everybody else is saying, then you know they're perhaps not worth listening to. And another thing was on the types of enclosures. Obviously you have your front opening, you've got top opening, you've got magnetic, there's screw top, there's different types. So I'll try and edit that bit in as well, but if I don't, it'll just be slapped on the end. But anyway, another little video. Whatever your reasoning is, because we all have our own reasons for you can maintain a humidity. Try again. You recognizable. What am I trying to say? Yeah, put your comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe, comment.